Hi there, welcome to your practice. My name is Sabine, and we're going to spend about the next 45 minutes together in Vinyasa Flow. So, the theme for this video, for this practice, is the in between. So, we are playing a little bit with the pauses and moments between two things. So, either if it's the breath or movement. So just to settle in, we'll start in a seated position. You can sit, like I'm sitting, for example, or you could sit cross-legged, you could kneel, you could sit on a chair, whatever feels comfortable for you. So we'll just be here for the next, just a couple of minutes, so not that long. So finding a comfortable seat for you where you can have your spine upright and you're slightly leaning back into space, tapping into that parasympathetic system of yours. Then place your hands on your body. You can have your palms facing down or facing up. And when you feel ready, start closing down your eyes. And as you close your eyes, notice how your gaze starts shifting inwards. You might notice some sounds around you, maybe sensations on the skin, maybe some wind or the clothes, the surface you're sitting on. Just becoming aware of yourself in space. And as you're sitting here, start shifting your attention to the breath now. See if you can locate the breath in your body. So even though we are sitting in stillness, parts of our body are still moving as we breathe. So your ribs might be expanding, your belly inflates, your chest moves up and down. And your breath might even travel into the back, maybe the lower or middle back. So without judgment, just becoming aware of your own breath. And then become curious about the pace and the texture of your breath. So you might be breathing slow or fast, maybe heavy or soft. Maybe your breath is a little bit sticky and rough. So again, without any judgment, it's just about observing our own breath. Becoming curious about how your breath is today. And as you're observing your breath might change as well. And that's also something we can notice. And then you might also notice that our breath is a continuous cycle. So we inhale and our chest and belly inflates. And then we exhale and there's a letting go and collapse in the body. But between those two phases, there's also a small pause on top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. Can you bring your attention to those points? So when you inhale, just notice the pause at the top of the inhale just before you're flowing into the exhale. And then once you've exhaled all the air out, notice that moment of silence, of nothingness, before you start inhaling again. See if you can expand those moments, those pauses a little bit more. And sit in that moment of silence, of nothingness. before you take another action of breathing. So those moments between our breaths we can sometimes feel as just the moments of being. We're not doing anything. We're just sitting there between the pauses. And maybe as you're doing this, your mind might change. Maybe you've got some thoughts. Maybe you're feeling a bit rushed. Or you're starting to feel calmer. Notice how your mind shifts as you put your attention on your breath. And then start letting go of the focus and just come back to your usual breath. Back into the space, feeling the surface beneath you. Bring your hands in front of your heart. You can set an intention here for your practice if you like. It might be becoming aware of the pauses between two things. It could be anything else that you feel drawn to. Once you've found your intention, you can start opening your eyes. And we'll start with our asana practice, so our postural yoga part. And we'll meet in a child's pose. So for child's pose, you've got two options. You can have your knees wide apart and your toes together, or you can bring your knees closer together. Just finding what feels right for you, and then start walking your hands out in front. You're finding that stretch, that long spine. Relax your forehead. You might want to place your forehead down onto your mat, your surface. And then just breathing here into your belly. Feeling the breath traveling all the way to the back. Your lower back, your ribs expanding. And then come back up, traveling through a tabletop position. Tuck your toes, and we're meeting in a downward facing dog. Take a moment here to find your downward facing dog, so spreading your fingers wide and really pressing your knuckles, your fingers into the earth, so you're almost gripping the surface, the earth beneath you. And then your heels start drawing down. You're pressing the earth away, so your spine, your back gets long, and your head just lets go and relaxes between your shoulders. Then on an inhale, we ripple forward into a plank position. Exhale, bend your knees and shift your hips back and up into downward facing dog. You're taking this wave a couple of times with your breath. So inhale to ripple forward, and exhale, bend your knees, bring yourself back into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank, and exhale, wave yourself into downward facing dog. A couple of times more, just really connecting with your breath. So when you start inhaling, that's when the movement starts. And when you finish your inhale, that's when the movement ends. And the same with the exhale. So our breath is determining the way we move, the pace we move. And then next time you're on downward facing dog, just staying here for a little moment. You might even want to walk out your dog, so start pedaling your feet. And then finding stillness again. Bring your knees down to the mat and sit down onto your heels. I'm just gonna rotate for you, but you can stay as you are. Grounding your right hand into the mat. Inhale, left hand reaches up into the sky. Side stretch. Maybe you want to bend into that right elbow. Feeling the breath in through the side body. And then over to the other side. Left hand comes down, bending into the elbow. Inhale, right hand up to the sky, stretching over into the right side. You can look up to the sky. So there's some stretch and some movement in your neck as well. And then inhale to come back up. Tuck your toes here. We're going through a little bit of, I would say, a camel flow. So grounding your right hand either down or onto your heel. Inhale your left hand up and over. And then circling it all the way around. Left hand connects to left heel. Inhale, right hand up and back. And one more round here. Right hand, right heel. Left hand reaches up into the sky. And then over to the other side. Coming back through your seated position. And from here, see if you can find or get up without your hands. And just finding the balance through your feet. And then your hips reach up. Let your upper body drop down. And your head hangs. You might want to grab your elbows and just bend your knees, hanging over your lower body. Let go of your head, maybe inviting some sways from side to side. Movements of the head, yes and no. Signaling the body that we're here ready to open and relax into our body. And let go of your elbows. Inhale to halfway lift. So you might want to place your hands onto your chins or onto the floor, depending on your flexibility here. And then start walking yourself out into a plank. You can bring your knees down for the couple of first times. And then inhale to shift forward and exhale, lowering all the way down. Inhale, cobra pose. Untuck your toes, press through the tops of your feet. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment to breathe here, really connecting back into your hands. So your hands become your feet. You're connecting your fingers down, your knuckles into the earth. And inhale, your heels rise. Look to the front of your mat and step to the front. Step your feet hip width distance apart and sink your hips deep for chair pose. Inhale, your hands reach up, finding that neutral spine. So you have your tailbone is reaching down long, so you're not arching either way. So you're finding that neutral pelvis. Arms are up, staying here for one breath. And then exhale, we fold forward our legs, still stay strong, hands reach back. And then inhale to come up. Couple of more times. Exhale to fold forward and inhale to come up. Feel into the transition. So we're staying strong into our legs, but as we move, we're almost moving through water, through honey. So feeling into the movement here, that point between one pose and the other. Next time you're bowing forward, just straighten your legs and let yourself fold forward in Uttanasana for a moment here. Then inhale to halfway lift and exhale, forward fold. Step your left foot back. Ground your left hand down. Inhale, right hand up to the sky. Easy twist. And then walking your way into Skandasana, so over to the left. Your left knee bends, and you can come low and have your right toes pointing up here. And then walking all the way back to the top of the mat, finding pyramid pose. So step your back foot in a little bit and then straighten your front leg. If you've got blocks at home or books, you could also use them to bring yourself up a little bit. Otherwise, you can place your hands onto your front leg, or if you've got space, you can bring your hands down. So your back toes are turned in at a 45-degree angle, and then both of your hips are pointing forward. So you might want to wrap that right hip back a little bit and the left one a little bit forward. And then finding a straight spine here, inhale, and exhale to fold over your right leg. Let go of your head so your upper body can relax over the leg. And then start bending into your right leg again. Hands ground down into the earth. And we are finding downward facing dog. Inhale, your right leg floats up to the sky. And then finding wild thing. So your right toes come behind your left knee. It's almost like a side plank, just that you're reaching up and arching your back. So you're really pressing into that hand and the toes to lift your hip up. Your right palm is facing down. And then coming into fallen triangle over to the other side. Right hand grounds down, pivoting on the back foot. Extend your right leg out, and your left hand reaches up into the sky. Sit your bum down here. So you're in a kind of like a straddle position. Then rotating over your left leg. Inhale to find an upward spine. And exhale, forward fold. Your toes are flexing towards you. And the idea is to get your upper body closer to your leg rather than your head. Feeling into the breath. How's your mind? Does your mind feel stable? Where are your thoughts and where's your mind going when there's not much movement happening in the body? Then inhale to come back up, grounding your right hand down, coming back through fallen triangle. Left hand reaches up, over and all the way down to the mat, and we step into our plank position. You can either stay up high or bring your knees down. Inhale to shift forward, and then exhale all the way down, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And then tuck your toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment to settle back into your downward facing dog. Maybe your heels come a little bit closer to the earth. Finding the alignment in your spine, the straight spine. And then inhale, look to the top of your mat. Your heels rise and step to the top. Find your chair position, so your feet are hip width distance apart, your hips sink low. Inhale, hands high up into the sky. Look if you can see your toes. If you can't, shift your weight a little bit more into your heels. And finding your neutral pelvis here. This time, see if you can balance onto your toes, so it's a bit of an added challenge here. And staying in that position, on an exhale, you fold forward. Inhale to come up. Staying with the movement, with the breath, and feeling into the transitions between two movements. What does it do to your mind? Where is your mind going? Can you be present in the moment? Next time you fold it forward, just bring your heels back down and let your upper body relax. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold and step your right leg back. Right hand grounds into the mat. Inhale, left hand reaches up into the sky. Easy twist. And from here, walk yourself over to the right into Skandasana. So either if you want to come all the way down, you can also stay up here. Either way is fine. So finding your variation, finding your Skandasana, and then walk back to the front of the mat into your pyramid pose. So step your back foot in a little bit, 45-degree angle, and start straightening your front leg. Again, if you've got blocks, so you want to take blocks here, you can. Otherwise, connect your hands either to the ground or to your front leg. Inhale to find your straight spine, and then exhale, folding over your left leg. Make sure your left hip wraps back and your right hip moves forward slightly, so you're finding that neutral hip. So your both hip bones are in one alignment. And then bend into your leg, hands ground down, downward facing dog. Inhale, your left leg floats up to the sky. And bring your left toes behind your right knee for a wild thing. So your left hand reaches up, right hand presses into the earth. Your hips reach up high. And over to the other side. Left hand grounds down, pivoting onto your right foot, and left foot extends for fallen triangle. And then sit down onto the earth and pivoting over your right leg, I think it is, the other one that we haven't done yet. So finding a straight spine. And then on an exhale, fold forward over your leg. See if you can notice maybe a difference between both legs. Maybe one feels a little bit more open than the other. And let go of any effort here. So you want to have a steadiness and an ease in this pose as well. Inhale to come up. Your left hand comes to the top of the mat, finding fallen triangle. Right hand comes down. And we are moving through our vinyasa. So inhale to shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment here. Let go of your neck, of your head. Inhale, right leg floats up to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Inhale to come all the way up into your lunge position. And then exhale, reaching your right hand back. You're twisting over the right. You might even want to look back over your shoulder, looking at your right hand. And then circle your hand underneath, around, and your left arm crosses underneath the right. And you might want to connect the palms, or you can connect the back of your hands. Whatever works for you. Inhale to lean back into the space. Your legs are still strong. And then exhale, lean forward, finding balance onto your right leg and coming through a warrior 3 variation. Still balancing on your right leg through stork pose. We are finding Garangasana. So your left leg crosses over the right and sit down into almost like a chair pose. So you can have the toes, the foot wrapping all the way around if that works for you. Otherwise, you can have it just the leg crossing over. And then finding the arm variation where your elbows are in line with your chin. So you might want to reach your arms a little bit higher. See if you can find a point to fix on. Take a moment here, sitting into the pose. And then inhale to come up, unravel into your warrior 3 and step back for arrow pose. So there's still a slight leaning forward. We want to have that straight line from our back, the top of our head, to our heels. Our hands are energized, reaching back. And then inhale, our hands come up, lunge pose. And exhale, arrowhead, hands reach back. We've got another pulsation here in our sequence. Another moment to feel into the transition of 2 poses and connect the movement with your breath. One more time here. Next time your hands are up, grounding your left heel down for warrior 1. So you want to have a 45-degree angle on your left foot. Catch your hands behind, so interlacing your fingers. Inhale to open your chest. And then exhale, forward fold, humble warrior. So you're folding between on the inside of your right leg. Let go of your head here. Your legs are doing all the work. So your upper body should be fairly relaxed. And then bringing your hands down onto the mat. Bend your knee, finding a low lunge. And then shift your hips back for Ardha Hanuman. So you, for me, or for some of you, you might need to walk out the right foot a little bit to find that alignment of hip over knee. And then flex your right toes towards you. Inhale to straighten your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Another moment of silence, another moment of pause between 2 poses. Can you bring your mind back to the felt sensation if you start wandering off into daily activities? Bend your right knee and place your hands on the inside of your leg, finding lizard lunge. So you might want to invite some movement or rotation here. See what feelings come up as we open up the hip a little bit. And tuck your back toes and step to the front for Malasana. So your feet are wider than hip width distance apart. And your hips sink deep. So you might be on top of your toes, depending on your flexibility in your ankles or if you've got any injuries. Otherwise, if you want to ground down your heels, you can also stay up higher. So see what works for you. Then bringing your palms together in front of you, and you can use your elbows to slightly guide your knees a little bit open. And feeling that connection with the earth. A very natural pose that we used to sit in probably a lot of times, many years ago. And now we've got chairs, so we don't do that anymore. But see if you can find that connection to the earth, to the grounding. And placing your hands down onto the mat. Step or maybe hop into your chaturanga. Otherwise, if you step, you can step into your plank and finding your Vinyasa flow. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, your left leg floats up to the sky. Exhale, step your foot between your hands. Inhale to come up into your lunge position. And exhale, your left hand reaches back. And you're twisting over the left. You might want to look back over your left hand, left shoulder, and circle your left hand to the top. And your right arm wraps underneath the left, and maybe hands connect or back of palms connect. And then on an inhale, open your chest, leaning back. And exhale, finding your weight into the front leg. Finding your balance onto the left and come into warrior three. Your right leg reaches back. Through stork pose, we're coming into Garudasana, eagle pose. So wrapping your right leg on top of the left, and then maybe your toes might even wrap all the way around. Bring your elbows up to chin height, and then sitting into Garudasana with a neutral pelvis. Breathe here, the wrapping into ourselves. The opening of the back of our shoulders. Where does your mind go? In moments of challenge. And then inhale to come out, warrior three, and slowly step back, arrowhead. So your hands reach back, slightly leaning forward, finding that one line from the top of your head to your toes, to your heels. Inhale, hands come up, lunge position, and exhale, arrowhead. Imagine you're moving through water, or maybe through honey. So you're slowing down your movement, you're slowing down your breath. The breath always guides the pace of your movement. Next time your hands are up into lunge position, ground down your back heel for warrior one. You might even widen your stance a little bit for more balance. Your back foot is on a 45-degree angle. Your hips are neutral, so you might want to wrap your left hip back, your right hip forward. Hands up into the sky, and then interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale to open up your chest, and then exhale, we bow forward. Humble warrior. So your shoulders move away from your head. Your head is soft and relaxed. And then hands come back down. Bring your right knee down and shift back for half splits Adho Hanuman. Maybe you need to walk your left foot out a little bit or forward. And then on an inhale, finding your straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Folding over your leg. Maybe feel if there is a different sensation from one leg to the other. And then bend into your left leg, finding lizard lunge. So both hands come on the inside of the left leg. And your left toes are pointed out a little bit. Connecting back to your breath. If there are any small movements you want to take, do that. And then tuck your back toes and come into Malasana at the top of the mat. Maybe you can even ground your heels slightly further down or open your knees up a little bit. We also want to have energy flowing up. So rather than just collapsing into our Malasana yogic squat, we want to press into the earth through our feet to give us this little bit of rising up. So the energy rises up and helps us to lift our pelvis slightly off the ground. So this is not a full passive pose, but we want to make it a bit active. Placing your hands back down to the mat and step into your plank position. Inhale to shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Connecting to your breath here, catching your breath maybe. And then bring your knees down to the mat and sitting onto your bum. Bring your legs around, and we're gonna start laying down onto the mat. So you might need to shuffle a little bit forward. You've got space behind you. And then the soles of your feet come down to the mat. Cross your right ankle, your right foot over the left knee. And then you can either stay here if you like, or float your left leg up and grab your leg behind to bring your right leg a little bit closer. You might even want to guide your right knee out with your right elbow slightly. Feeling into that hip opening and what it does to you. What happens to you when you're in silence? What feelings come up? Where does your mind go? And then you can let go of your leg. And your legs fold over to the left. You might want to look to the right. In your twist, your hands are either reaching out or maybe cactus arms, depending on the space you've got. Taking in this juicy twist. And if this leg variation doesn't work for you, you can always change it and choose another twist. Inhale to come up. We're switching sides. So left ankle crosses over right knee. Again, you've got a couple of variation here. So choose whatever works for you, or maybe what you did on the other side. And our toes are also active, so we're pulling. We want to have them flexed, basically. Our toes are pointing towards our knee. That's it. And then twist over to the right. You can look over to the left. Your shoulders are connected to the earth. And then inhale to come up. See if there's anything else you want to do before we come into Shavasana. So maybe if you want to roll out or roll on your lower back, maybe a little bit of rocking on your spine. Or if you like happy baby, you can come into happy baby. Very favorite or popular pose before Shavasana. So see what your body needs today. And taking a couple of breaths into that pose. If you're in happy baby, see if you can bring your lower back to the mat. So grounding your lower back. And then your shoulders are also reaching towards the earth. So you're laying flat onto the earth. And when you feel ready, finding your Shavasana. If you need to grab any additional things. Maybe place a bolster underneath your knees if you like, or if you need a jacket, socks, blanket, eye pillow, whatever it is. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. And then your palms are facing up. If it feels good for you, close down your eyes. And feel the surface beneath you. Mother Earth that is holding your body, taking off all the weight off your shoulder. For the next couple of minutes, let your body integrate the movements that we've just done, the energies that we've opened up. Just surrendering to the process, and there's nothing you have to do here. Just being. We'll stay here for the next couple of minutes. And I invite you to really stay in Shavasana, even though it's an online video. Some people might want to skip Shavasana, but it's a very powerful pose. So I invite you to take in the last couple of minutes to lay here. Start deepening your breath again. Invite movement back into your body, wiggling your toes, your fingers. Maybe you want to even stretch out your hands above you, above your head. And then rolling onto your favorite side, just for a moment. And come back up into a seated position. Still feeling the Shavasana in your body. Feeling again into your breath. See if something has shifted in your breath after the movement, after our Shavasana. And soaking in the silence, the stillness in the body, maybe even in the mind. Bringing your palms together in front of your heart. Connecting with your intention again that you set at the beginning of practice. Maybe see how you went. So there's no judgment, it's just an observation. It's information for us to learn about ourselves, about our progress. And then I invite you to take the intention that you've set, if you have set one at the beginning of class, to take it out into your day, or maybe the next day, the week, or the weekend. And align your day to that attention. Then take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhale to let go. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed the class. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. And I hope I see you next time. Have a beautiful day.